And so Jacob, the father of Israel, grows into the man of truth. He wasn't born a man of truth. I don't think anyone here is born a person of truth. He grew into being an ish emet, a man of truth. And it's like you become one throughout your life. That the idea of Jacob, which is the idea of Israel, which is the foundational role model for every believer, is to really be committed to the process. And the Arugot farm, this fellowship, it's all a process. As we build it, we are being built. And as we grow, it grows. And as it grows, we grow. Jacob, through his name, we're going to talk about this, consistency. Through that, he becomes Israel. It's dedication, devotion, and commitment that transforms him. Commitment is something that's almost lost in this generation. The next generation, like the one that's just under me now, it's like they've been influenced by Esau and that immediate gratification, and they want the fast food and the fast fixes of the West. They don't want to get married. They don't want to really build a career. They hop from job to job. The Bible's teaching us that the path to greatness in life, the path to blessing, is through commitment. To be straight with God, to be straight with yourself as a human, which is the meaning of the word Israel, Yashar El, to be straight with God. That is the definition of character. And I think the best way to describe that is to being committed to doing what you said you were going to do after the mood and inspiration has passed when you said it. It's like without commitment, you can never really be fully expressed in it. If you've made a commitment, and if you hit a rough spot on the way, not if, when you hit a rough spot on the way, your thoughts are, how can I overcome? How can I persevere? How can I solve the problem? And you will emerge greater and stronger than you were in the beginning. With the commitment is like the fuel, the food that nourishes your being to expand and express itself in the world, to overcome any obstacles. When you haven't made a commitment, and you hit a rough spot in your mission, in your relationship, in your career, and whatever, your first question is, how the heck can I get out of this deal? And if you could be, and who you could be, what you could have become, what you could have accomplished, it never manifests itself. And, sometimes I go to sleep at night and I think to myself, I don't want to die and never know what would have happened if I really would have committed myself. I have one life to live here, so I'm going to commit to whatever matters to me. And I know so many people in their 20s and in their 30s, and they've never committed to anything. They've never really committed to any cause in their life fully, not in school, not in marriage, not in their career. Their whole lives, they've had like one foot in and one foot out. They've never really fully engaged. They've never fully invested themselves. They've never lived committed through the highs and lows, struggled and prevailed. And if you've never done that, you've never fully lived. And there's two stages in that commitment. The first is to throw yourself into the mission, that you've been called to. That's when you put the ring on the finger, you stand under the chuppah, you're all in now. That's when you decide to make aliyah. I think in our lifetime, it's the greatest human achievement as a believer to take that plunge and make it into Israel. There's just no other way to accomplish that in a believer's lifetime. You're literally following the footsteps of Abraham. You put it all in line and then walk in faith into the unknown. But that's really only stage one. Stage two, after you taking the plunge, making that life choice, having the child, making that stand in life, that's what gets you the ticket to the ball. But now, where the life of a believer begins, and perhaps it's like the last lesson that Jacob gives us as he becomes Israel. Look at what Jacob's name is. His name is Yaakov, which is Jacob. We spoke yesterday before that it is the opposite of Esau, which means done. It literally means delay, where Esau wants it immediately right now. Jacob means ikuv, means delay. But even more than that, Jacob comes from the word ikviut, which means consistency. And it's, wow, you think about that now. It's like the consistency of Jacob, 7 years and another 7 years. And just keep at it, one stone at a time. The blessing of transformation into Israel happened through consistency. And in the transformation from Jacob to Israel, we're all being taught, you'll never be the person that you can be. The person that you can be is locked behind commitment. You know, we can get by at 30% or 40%, but we were created with the potential of 100%. Now, giving yourself over totally to a cause it's not always possible. It's like it's hard to do that all the time, but it doesn't always mean the pedal to the metal until you work yourself towards exhaustion. But what it does mean is every single day. The Torah teaches us that the power of Israel is revealed not in bursts of inspiration, but in taking moments of inspiration and then channeling them into committed consistency every day, every morning, waking up, realigning yourself every morning, being committed to your wife, being committed to your career. It's like every morning, that's how you build it. You know, there's a story of a builder, and he worked every day in his craft. He had built over 100 homes in his lifetime, and he was getting old, and he was thinking about retiring. And his employer asked him to build one more house before he left. It was his last commission. And the builder took the job. And although his heart wasn't really in it, it was his last job. So he cut some corners. He didn't use the best materials. He didn't oversee the craftsmen properly and didn't notice a lot of mistakes that they had made. And he would have noticed it had he shown the interest that he had and like had he shown in his previous years. And at the end of the project, he hands over the keys to his employers. And he's not feeling great about the job, but he's retiring now. And the employer takes the keys and then hands it right back to him. And the employer says to the builder, here, the house is yours. This is my farewell gift to you. It's like, oh, if he only knew he was building his own house. If we only knew that we were building our own house. All of the time, we thought that we were doing something for God. We were doing something for someone else. We were doing something for something else, for some other purpose, for some other life, for some other entity, something else outside of us. All throughout our lives, committed to the Torah is the deep understanding we're building our own lives. We're building our own homes, the sanctuaries of our soul. And as we lay one brick at a time, we're building our lives. We're building ourselves. We're becoming whole. And that's exactly what happens to Jacob when he returns to the land of Israel. Look at Genesis chapter 33. Jacob arrives whole. In Hebrew, it says he arrives shalem at the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. He set up an altar there and proclaimed God, the God of Israel. It's like after it all, the whole saga, he arrives shalem. He arrives whole. He arrives the man he was meant to be. Shalem means whole. It's the root of the word shalom, peace. It's the root of the name of our capital, Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, Shalem. It's the same word. And so Jacob vows before he leaves the land of Israel, oh, if you're with me, you will become my God. I'm not just going to believe in you. I'm going to live with you. You're going to be mine. I'm going to be in a personal relationship with you. You will be mine and I will be yours. And now he arrives at the same place Abraham arrived when he first came to the land of Israel, at Shechem. And Jacob proclaims, you are the God of Israel. You are my God. And the day that all believers is coming, the day where all believers will be united in prayer, through building ourselves is coming, because this Torah, it's not for a religion and it's not for a people. It is a message for the world. It is the destiny of Jerusalem to be a house of prayer for all nations. And in that day, we won't all be the same religion. We'll all be living in a relationship with the creator of the universe. We will all be living a guided life and working to develop that ability. And the more upright our lives, the better our spiritual reception and our spiritual antennas will be, living committed and consistently aligning ourselves with the ultimate good. Our path will be straightened for us, because as we strive to know him in all our ways. Shalom, my name is Jeremy Gimpel. A few months ago, we started an online seminar teaching life-changing biblical wisdom revealed from the original Hebrew and straight from the mountains of Judea. With global instability on the rise, more and more people are turning to God, realizing now they don't exactly know where to look for guidance. The Bible says the guidance will come from the land of Israel. What started as an online seminar has grown into a global fellowship with hundreds of members from over 30 countries. We're participating in fulfilling prophecy as we learn the Bible through the eyes of prophecy, with a focus on what it's telling about us in our lives today. What you will discover is that the wisdom transmitted thousands of years ago is speaking directly to us in our time right now. Instead of learning the Bible as a religion, it's the Torah of Israel, the living guidance of God. So please join us for our next online gathering and get access to the full library of teachings that the Land of Israel Fellowship is offering. Join now and get an audio series on the prophecy encoded in the book of Joshua, absolutely for free. Just click on the link below or email fellowship@thelandofisrael.com. I don't know how you found this video or what compelled you to click on that link, but I don't believe in coincidence, and I would encourage you to take the next step on your journey toward the land of Israel. I hope to see you at the Land of Israel Fellowship. Shalom.